Well, tubers, tubettes, and of course crazy people. If I take my wife, my Filipina, out of the country, will she try to better deal me? Well, let's look at the facts. I'm 69 years old and ugly. She's 38 years old, very slim, very attractive. What would happen if I left here, where admittedly the balance of power is in my favor? Would the power shift go from me to her in America? I have to confess that it has happened. I have to confess also that in many cases it has not happened. So what's the dealio? Why is it some women, when the minute they get there, they just vamoose? They disappear into the sunset. They find another guy or another circumstance. And why do some women stick by their partner through thick and thin? After many, many conversations on both sides of this equation with many, many different men, women, and couples, I have found that there's pretty much three common things that are like a common thread that runs through this equation that makes it either work or not work. Nothing's absolute, but I want to run by what I think are the three primary factors that will give you a good indicator if this woman is going to stay with you or is she going to find a better deal. Here comes my video. Well, alrighty then, as I mentioned earlier, I think there's three things, possibly more, that I can get into a little bit here about when you take your Filipina, or if you take your Filipina out of the Philippines and over to your home country, what are the odds that she will better deal you? And I'm going to go over them in no particular order. So, the first thing that I've noticed after dozens of conversations with both the winners and the losers is a common denominator has been age. The younger the Filipina, doesn't really matter the age gap so much, although that plays a role. In my case, it's 30 years. And in many cases that I talk to, that seems to run about the same, about a 25 to 35 year age gap. A younger Filipina is going to feel much more of her self-worth. Let's face it, she's coming into the prime of her life, and she realizes that. Now here in the Philippines, the balance of power seems to stay with the foreigner simply because of the sheer volume of women that are here and available. And the competition, while it's not high for a guy like me, but it's there. And it's an undercurrent, sort of an unspoken undercurrent that I know goes through their body, mind, and soul. And now they have just better dealed their own life here in the Philippines with some ugly old guy like me. And they say, you know what, I'm going to do what I can to hang on to that. And so because the balance of power, subconsciously, consciously, is in my favor. I admit freely that if I go over to America with my wife, there's going to be a shift of power. She is going to feel more empowered and possibly become Americanized. I fully understand that. And I'm not really afraid of it in my situation. But when it gets over the top, most likely it's when the woman is younger. She's less mature. She's fully aware of her self-worth. And once she gets over there, it gets magnified tenfold. And what happens is you can't be together 24 hours a day. And she's going to be out on her own. She might learn how to drive. She might get a job. She's going to encounter guys that are better looking, younger, more fit, wealthier, and they're going to hit on her. End of story. Men are men. and they don't care if she's married. They'll take one look at you and say, "Oh, I can grab her from him," and that, I think, is much more likely to happen. In fact, I've heard it's happen when the woman is younger, she's more impressionable, and she's feeling like, well, now that I'm here, he's not looking so good, and this guy is, and off she goes. Not always, but I think that age plays a big, big factor. Feel free to agree or disagree. What is one of the other factors involved in this whole deal? I think a lot of it has to do just with the woman's character in general. Where did you meet her? Was it in a bar? Was it, did she have a high body count when you met her? Has she been with a bunch of different foreigners or a bunch of different guys before? No judgment. Everybody's free to do what they want with themselves. But how has she reacted? How has she responded? Does she drink? Does she smoke? Does she dance the hoochie coo? Is she a party girl? Or is she more sedate, more of a homebody, more of somebody that just wants to have, that tight-knit feeling with somebody? I think that a person's character will show really prior to going over there, and yet guys do it anyway. And to me, I hear these stories and they tell me, yeah, she was acting up or she had a meltdown. And I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about any woman. She could be 50 for all I know. But they go into these tempo fits. They're basically just a little psycho. Not unlike an American woman. No disrespect to American women here. But they just maybe have a sense of entitlement. They're never happy. They're always trying, it's always more, more, more. I watch guys, they just keep trying to buy their way into this woman's good graces. And then, unbeknownst to me why, they decide to pack her butt up, put her on a plane, and take her home because he wants to be near his family or whatever his reasons might be. Maybe he needs to go back to work. I think that right there, if she's got those types of character flaws to begin with, where she's immature, no matter at what age, if she's a little narcissistic, just is not really showing you that much affection to begin with, I think you're just beating the proverbial dead horse and you're setting yourself up for a major fail. And that is just due to the character of the person. And like it or not, it's your fault if you get involved with somebody of low morals and poor character and prone to fits, anger, and just general misbehavior. Drinking a lot, getting covered up with tats. No, sorry for the folks with tats. I don't like them. And I just think that you could have done better while you were here. And the outcome is almost written in stone. But the minute this woman, who's always wanting a new gadget, wanting a new deal, wanting this, wanting that, is going to be able to get it over there because you're older, you're maybe on a more of a fixed income, and once this one guy comes along and sweeps her off her feet because he's got a big fancy red car and a great big house on the hill, she's just going to drop you like a hot potato. That one almost goes unspoken. The third thing that I've noticed is, and this is a big one, is the time that you guys have been together. I'll say it again. The time that you have been together. Let's just do an example, shall we? You meet somebody online. You're chatting for a year, 6 months, whatever. She's telling you everything that you want to hear. You've become smitten with her because she's so beautiful and so sweet. She's telling you how handsome you are. And then you come over here to the Philippines on an exploratory mission to see the Philippines, but you have no intention of staying. You literally come over here to meet her and spend some time with her, and then you're going to take her home to Kentucky or wherever and set up shop and have this happy, lovely marriage. And you've spent a total of, I don't know, pick a number, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. I'm of the attitude that you really don't know a person until 6 months. And that's just the beginning of getting to know them. For me personally, I need to know somebody at least for an excess of 1 year. And then not just know them, live with them for yet another year. And see, because you know what? I love old sayings, and things that stand up to what? The test of time. Did you and her, both of you united together as a couple, were you able to stand up to the test of time? Because what happens over time, boys and girls? Life. And life isn't always paradise. Life has ups and life has downs. How did the two of you face adversity together? Anybody can get along when you're laying on a beach sipping a pina colada, watching the beautiful sunset, and you got snacks. Everything goes better with snacks, right? But that's not reality. Reality is the day-to-day. We got to do the laundry. What happened to the dog? We've got to clean up. We've got to get some money. Whoa, we're short on money. Can we make it? I'm sick. You're sick. How do we take care of each other? How do we respond to one another? How the hell does anybody think that they're going to know that they've got this wonderful, lovely Filipina after spending 63 days with her over here in her home country, where she's introduced you to her family, and they're all pumping you up because they know once that you get her over there and she marries you, a proverbial 90-day fiancé, that they too are set. So you might be walking into a proverbial snake pit. I'm not trying to paint the Philippines as filled with snakes. I'm just saying that they exist. And there's a very, very strong opportunity for that to happen to you if you don't, as I always like to say, slow down. Take your time. Why not come over, meet, greet, see if there's any chemistry? But why the hell would you just pick her up after 1, 2, 3 months, drag her over there, make a lifelong commitment where she's now entitled to half your stuff? And again, like I said before, she's probably got a 30-year advantage on you as far as age. If I dig into it a little bit deeper, let's just say that everything is fairly copacetic. But I think that a lot of women just pick up and leave, not necessarily right away, but over a period of time, maybe 2, 3, or 4 years. You know why? Because you're not really the nicest guy there is. Sorry to break it to you. But maybe you're demanding. Maybe you're not the best. Maybe you're not that hygienically conscious. Maybe you have a temper, or you're a drinker, or you just, you yell, you lose your temper a lot. And you know what? The most patient people, females, Filipina or non, are just not going to put up with it. They just sick of you. They haven't met somebody else. They haven't found a better job where they can support themselves and get their own apartment, or they have, but they leave not because they've got their own job and their own money now, or because some guy has come along that's younger and stronger and richer. They just leave because you. They're sick of being around you. I've experienced that in America when I was married. My ex-wife and I were sick of each other. Neither one of us could wait to get apart from one another. I just think that it's ludicrous for you to come over here, and this is the biggest one. Now let's put all three of those together. All right, let's say you come over here, you've been chatting with somebody, and she's the proverbial bar girl. But you've been chatting with her, and she's telling you all these things, and maybe she's, giving you a little show over online. Well, that's not really a good sign, because if she's showing you, who else is she showing? How many other people has she been talking to? All right, but you've got this LDR going on with her, and now you come over, and you meet her, and you're hearing everything that you want to hear, and guess what? She's 24 years old. And you're thinking, man, oh man, did I score. Here's this beautiful, sexy, open-minded girl that really digs me. She's told me I'm the only one. Well, you got the trifecta there, buddy. Okay, she's young. She comes from maybe a seedy or less than desirable background. She's of low morals. And what do you think's going to happen? Even if she doesn't leave you, you might wake up one day and go, what the hell am I doing with her? She's just lazy. She's drunk all the time. She doesn't take care of the house. This is not the way it's supposed to go. Maybe you want out of the deal, but you're married and you feel stuck. I don't know, kids. The ones that I have seen succeed have really been the flip side of what I'm talking about. They have met. The woman is generally 30 years old or older. She's been there and she's done that. Maybe she's had kids, maybe she hasn't. In my case, May, hard time having children, she's childless. That's really, one of my friends that married a Filipina with a child put it very eloquently. When he moved both the son and the wife over, he said, I've got twice the love than if she didn't have a child. And I thought that was really, really a cool sentiment. So, but the ones that I have seen succeed, they fit all the numbers. They spent an adequate amount of time together physically. They went through some trials. They went through some tribulations. They had good times, they had bad times. And yet, throughout it all, they may have had some little cat fights. They may have had some disagreements. She or he may have stormed out of the house once or twice. Well, hey, that's life. But you know what? Ultimately, they were actually in love with one another. And I think at the end of the day, that is the key. Old people, whenever they are getting ready, and I mean old, I mean on deathbed, there's one thing that runs almost concurrent through some of their last words to their loved ones. When they look them in the eye, they say many things. When they're saying their goodbyes, when they know the time is imminent, that their demise is near. There's one thing that I've heard over and over and over again that old people say on their deathbed. Love one another. It's just that simple. If we could all just love one another, wouldn't the world be a better place? Well, If you're talking about this dynamic between man and woman, and you go over there to America or your home country, and there is no love, what's the point of going at all? All right, kids, I'll see you guys in the next video.